like maybe a year and a half ago. I was homeless at the time. And I was coming off the train and I was in just such a bad mood. I don't think I'd slept in like a day and a half. I was miserable. And I was walking, like my normal haunt was to just walk through the West Village, right? Like, you whatever it is, anytime, day or night, you go on to McDougal Street and it's like, the red light district in Amsterdam, like it's, if you walk through it now, by the way, it is a crazy scary ghost town. But I remember like it used to be the most poppin', like 2 blocks in all of Manhattan. So I would go there and just like hang out in the clubs until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, look for an after hour spot and just stay until the sun came up. And I remember getting off the train and I was just, all I wanted to do was just find somewhere to like go to sleep. And I feel as I'm walking, like about to make the turn onto McDougal, I feel something on my back. Right. And I turn around, I look down, and there's just a cigarette butt, like just smoking right underneath me. I'm like, what? And like, I look up and there's just like maybe 6 like drug dealers. Right. And like the one, like the smallest guy is just sitting there, like snickering at me. Right. And I'm like, motherfucker, did you really just flick a cigarette at me? And he's like, yeah, what the fuck you going to do about it? And I'm like, all right, well, it just became a thing now, right? So like I start marching up to him and I'm screaming at him like, fuck, what the fuck? Why would you do that? And like all of his boys like get in between me and him, right? And there's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 of them, right? And they're like way bigger than me, right? And getting in my face and being like, yo, do you really want this problem right now? And we're going back and forth about, the issue of me getting a cigarette flicked at me. And I explained to them what happened. And they tried to say that he didn't, in fact, flick a cigarette at me. And I'm like, no, the smallest, biggest bitch in your crew, right? The one guy I know here who can't fucking fight flicked a cigarette at me. And I like keep cursing at them to try to like induce I just wanted to fight this guy one-on-one. Like that's all I wanted to do was just fight this guy. And it became a thing where it's like, there's 3 or 4 of these guys and they're really trying to intimidate me and like, make me just back the fuck off and like tell me to get out of there. And I just kept screaming at them to the point where I'm like, guys, this has to be bad for business. Like you guys are out here doing what God knows what, like there are cops walking around at all times. You have one guy screaming at 6 or 7 other guys. Like this is going to attract, like it's going to become an issue. And they're like, you're right. Get the fuck out of here. And I eventually argued them down to that guy giving me a cigarette for me to leave. And I lit it up. I walked around the corner and that was that. But I mean, that to me is like, that's the best win of a fight I've ever had, right? Like, it was embarrassing getting a cigarette flicked at me. It was, the most adrenaline pounding because I'm thinking like, I'm going to have to fight all 7 of these guys. Like if I really want to start shit with this one little fucking guy who I know only starts shit when he's around bigger guys, I'm going to need to be ready to go through all of these dudes. And it was just, I don't know. It was something like that stroke of genius pointing out, like, you guys are losing money. The more you argue with me, just have this kid give me a cigarette and I'll be on my fucking way. Like I'm homeless trash, just like everybody else you're going to be dealing with tonight. Like, what is wrong with you? Why do you invite these problems?
I mean, you really lucked out. I mean, there was no lose for them in this situation. Like there's more of them, there's just one of you. Like there was no reason for them to give in to anything that you were saying. Like they could have just kicked your ass at any moment.
But
it was just like
he logicked his way into letting that, like, it's kind of interesting if you think about it, because they're basically saying this guy is a moron. He goes, actually, you guys are morons because not only are you drawing attention to yourself, but you're losing business.